There are moments when Allah is speaking to you without a single word. And sometimes those signs are about a person in your life right now. Someone who smiles, supports you, maybe even loves you, but Allah knows something you don't. What if I told you there are clear warnings in your heart and your life that say, this person will harm you? Get away. Most people ignore them until it's too late. You will not, because today we uncover every single one. Your heart feels heavy and unsettled. The most beautiful gift Allah gives us is the quiet whisper of the heart, that gentle unseen voice that no one else can hear but you. It is not loud. It is not forceful. It is gentle yet so persistent. You know it. That feeling deep inside when something just doesn't feel right. You cannot explain it to anyone. You can't show it in words or prove it with evidence, but you feel it. And that feeling doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from the one who created your heart. It comes from the one who fashioned your soul. It comes from Allah. Sometimes you sit with someone, they smile at you. They speak kindly. They even say the right things. But deep down, a small voice inside says, be careful, something is not right here. Your heart feels uneasy. It feels like the air around you is heavier than usual. The peace you had a moment ago begins to fade. Your thoughts feel crowded. Your chest feels tight. And when you finally leave their company, you feel lighter, as if a burden was quietly lifted off your shoulders. You can breathe again. Your mind clears. Your soul feels at rest. That change is not random. It is not just in your head. It is Allah showing you something. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that the heart can see what the eyes cannot, because the eyes only see what is on the surface, but the heart feels what is underneath. You may try to convince yourself you are overreacting. You might tell yourself, they've done nothing wrong, I have no proof. But the truth is, you don't always need proof when Allah is your protector. Sometimes Allah will remove people from your life quietly. No big arguments, no obvious betrayal, just a growing discomfort that pushes you away little by little. That is His mercy. That is His shield. Allah says in the Quran, if they incline to peace, then incline to it also and rely upon Allah. Surah Al-Anfal 861. And when your heart does not incline to peace, when it refuses to settle, it is also telling you something. It's telling you that this place, this person, this connection is not bringing you the peace Allah promises. And when something robs you of that peace, it cannot be from Him. Peace is not just the absence of problems. It is a deep, quiet comfort in your soul. It is the type of ease that allows you to breathe without fear, to speak without guarding every word, to pray without distraction. When you are with the right people, your heart feels safe. It opens like a flower in sunlight. It remembers Allah more easily. It feels encouraged to do good. But when you are with the wrong people, something inside begins to shrink. You laugh less, or you laugh in ways that feel empty. Your mind is restless. Your ibadah becomes harder. Your du'as feel heavy. And maybe no one else sees it. Maybe to the world, they look like the perfect friend, the perfect partner, the perfect helper. But Allah has allowed you to feel something deeper, something hidden, because He wants to protect you. My dear brother, my dear sister, never dismiss these small alarms. They are often the first layer of Allah's protection. They come before the big warnings. They come before the clear danger. They come when Allah still wants to give you the chance to step back without harm. How many people have ignored that feeling and later said, I knew something was wrong. I felt it from the start, but I stayed. Do not let that be your story. When Allah warns you once, do not ask for Him to warn you twice. Sometimes your heart will whisper, This person's words are sweet, but their energy is bitter. This person's smile is bright, but their intentions are dark. This person's company feels warm now, but their path will lead you to coldness. It is hard to walk away when you have no reason. It is hard to explain to others why you are distancing yourself, but you do not need to explain when Allah understands. Do not be ashamed of protecting your heart. Do not be embarrassed about protecting your peace. Do not apologize for listening to the voice Allah placed within you. The dunya will tell you to ignore feelings, to be logical, to wait for visible proof. But faith teaches you to trust what Allah has placed inside you, especially when it aligns with His promise of peace. Peace is a gift, and Allah does not take it away without reason. So when your peace disappears in someone's presence, when your heart feels heavier after every meeting, when your dua feels harder after every conversation, pause, step back and say, Ya Allah, if this is your warning, let me understand it. If this is your protection, let me accept it. The Quran tells us that Allah is Al-Latif, the subtle. He protects us in ways we cannot see. He guides us gently, without force. And one of the softest, most beautiful ways He guides us is through the unease of our own hearts. This feeling may save you from betrayal. It may save you from a toxic relationship. It may save you from years of heartache. It may save your iman. Some people pray for Allah to show them the truth, and He does not in visions, not in dreams, but in the simple heaviness of a moment, in the quiet restlessness after a meeting, in the sigh you breathe without knowing why. That is truth. That is protection. That is mercy. So the next time your heart feels unsettled, do not push it aside. Do not silence it. Do not cover it with excuses. Instead, pause and listen, because your heart may be hearing what your ears cannot. Your soul may be seeing what your eyes cannot. And Allah is always speaking to those who are willing to listen. They pull you away from your deen. There is something Allah has placed inside you that is more precious than all the wealth in this dunya. It cannot be bought. It cannot be stolen unless you hand it over. It is your iman. It is your connection to Him. It is your deen. This is not just a part of your life, it is your life. It is the rope between you and Jannah. It is the bridge between your short time here and your eternal home there. And sometimes, without you even noticing, certain people start loosening your grip on that rope. They don't come and cut it in front of you. They don't openly say, leave Allah, stop praying, stop believing. No, it is far more subtle than that. It begins small, a little delay here, a skip prayer there. I will read Quran tomorrow that never comes. You don't notice it at first because they still smile. They still speak nicely. They might even use words of kindness, but slowly, very slowly, your heart changes. You used to pray as soon as the adhan was called. Now you wait. You used to feel joy when hearing the Quran. Now you feel distracted. You used to crave gatherings of dhikr and reminders. Now you think, maybe next week. It doesn't happen overnight. Shaitan doesn't work like that. He is patient. He will take you step by step until one day you look back and realize you are far from where you once stood. And here is the hardest part sometimes. The person pulling you away doesn't even mean to harm you. They may love you. They may care for you. They may think they are helping you enjoy life. But good intentions don't change harmful effects. If their company makes you remember Allah less, if their influence makes you delay your salah, if their presence makes haram seem smaller, then you are being pulled away from the very thing that gives you life. Allah warns us clearly in the Quran, O you who have believed, let not your wealth and your children divert you from the remembrance of Allah, and whoever does that, it is they who are the losers. Suratul Munafiqun 63:9. The verse mentions wealth and children, but it's not limited to them. It's about anything or anyone who diverts your heart from Allah. A friend can distract you more than gold. A companion can take more of your time than work. A person's laughter can drown out the adhan if you let it. And then the days pass and the weeks pass and you begin to feel something changing inside. Your salah feels rushed. Your dua feels empty. Your tears in prayer dry up. The sweetness of faith feels far away. But you tell yourself, it's just a phase. You tell yourself, I'll fix it later. You tell yourself, I can handle it. Until one day, you wake up and realize the version of you that once rushed to please Allah is now a distant memory. My dear brother, my dear sister, faith is not something we can store in a box and expect to stay fresh forever. It is like a plant. It needs watering, sunlight, protection. And the people around you, they are either feeding your iman or starving it. If you sit with those who love Allah, your iman will grow without you even trying. If you sit with those who forget Allah, your iman will wither without you even noticing. The Prophet ﷺ said, a man follows the religion of his close friend. So each of you should consider whom he makes his close friend. But Abu Dawood, this is not just advice, it's a warning. Because hearts are mirrors. We reflect what we are close to. If you walk with people running towards the akhirah, your steps will naturally follow them. If you walk with people chasing the dunya, they will pull you with them, even if you tell yourself you won't go too far. And this pull, it often feels harmless at first. You laugh more, you relax more, you tell yourself you are just enjoying life. But enjoyment that makes you forget the one who gave you life is not enjoyment, it is a slow, sweet poison. I have met people who said, I didn't realize how far I had gone until I couldn't feel salah anymore, until Quran felt like a stranger, until my heart felt empty. And when we traced their steps backwards, it began with the company they kept. It began with the voices they listened to. It began with the people they gave their time to. Shaitan knows he cannot make a believer leave faith overnight. So he works to surround you with those who make your faith feel less important. Those who plant small seeds of laziness. Those who tell you, don't be too extreme. Those who say, Allah will forgive everything. Just live your life. Yes, Allah is forgiving. Yes, He is merciful. But that mercy should make you rush to Him, not away from Him. If someone's presence makes you delay turning back to Allah, they are not a gift, they are a test. And here is the truth many don't like to hear. Sometimes you have to love someone from a distance to save both your soul and theirs. Sometimes stepping back is the most loving thing you can do because it shows you care enough not to walk into harm together. It will hurt, it will feel lonely at first, but Allah promises, and whoever fears Allah, He will make for him a way out and provide for him from where he does not expect. Surah Al-Talaq 65:2-3. Dahima ana hada al-huwa alayhim. Leave something for Allah's sake and He will replace it with something far better. Better friends, better gatherings, better peace. So look at your circle. Who in your life makes you love Allah more? Who reminds you of the akhirah? Who helps you guard your salah? And who makes you forget? Who makes you delay? Who makes you feel that haram is not that bad? Don't hate them. Don't curse them. But protect yourself. Make dua for them. Show them kindness. But if you must choose between their company and your connection to Allah, always choose Allah. Because the day is coming when you will stand before Him alone. No friends, no crowds. no company to answer for you. And on that day, you will wish for the companions who kept you firm, the ones who encouraged you to pray, the ones who reminded you of Jannah, the ones who held your hand away from sin and towards the mercy of Allah. May Allah make us among them. They bring out your worst traits. There is a version of you that Allah loves, the version of you that is gentle in speech, quick to forgive, slow to anger, patient in trials, kind to strangers, humble when praised. That version of you is a blessing from Allah. It is the product of His guidance, His mercy, and the choices you've made to please Him. But my dear brother, my dear sister, that version of you is not guaranteed to stay forever, because there are people whose presence can water the seeds of goodness in you, and there are people whose presence can awaken weeds you thought you had already uprooted. Sometimes you are not tested with hardship. Sometimes you are tested with company. You can be calm all day and then spend an hour with the wrong person and find yourself raising your voice. You can guard your tongue for weeks and then sit with certain people and find yourself gossiping as if you had never promised Allah you wouldn't. You can feel grateful in the morning and feel bitter by nightfall because someone kept feeding you words of envy. This is not always because you are weak. It is because hearts are mirrors. They reflect what they are closest to. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, the example of a good companion and a bad companion is like that of the seller of musk and the blacksmith. The musk seller might gift you perfume, or you might buy some, or you might simply benefit from his fragrance. But the blacksmith might burn your clothes, or at the very least, you will smell a foul odor from him. Even if the blacksmith never means to harm you, you still walk away with smoke in your clothes. Even if the musk seller never speaks to you, you still walk away smelling sweet. This is the power of environment. We sometimes underestimate how much of ourselves is shaped by the people around us. We think, I can handle it, I won't change. But the reality is, the more time you spend with someone, the more your heart aligns with theirs, whether you notice it or not. And the most dangerous kind of influence is the subtle kind, the kind that doesn't feel dangerous at first. It begins in small ways. They make you laugh at someone else's flaw. They encourage you to speak your mind when speaking your mind really means speaking without mercy. They tell you to be strong when they actually mean don't forgive. And each time a small seed is planted, a seed of arrogance, a seed of impatience, a seed of bitterness, and seeds, they grow. They grow faster when they are watered, and the people around you, knowingly or unknowingly, can water the wrong seeds in your heart. One day, you might look in the mirror and realize you don't recognize your own reflection. You speak sharper than you used to. You trust less. You complain more. You look for faults before you look for goodness. And it's not because your heart was always like this. It's because you allowed company into your life that made your worst traits feel normal. Allah warns us about this through the voice of regret in the Quran. Oh, woe to me! I wish I had not taken that one as a friend. He led me away from the remembrance after it had come to me. Surah Al-Furqan 25, 28, 29. This verse is not about one bad day. It's about the slow pull away from the person you were when you were closest to Allah. Sometimes Allah gives you the gift of noticing the change early. You feel heavier after conversations. You feel more impatient with your family. Your prayers feel rushed. Your heart feels less soft. That is Allah saying to you, pay attention. This is not the path I want for you. It doesn't mean you hate the person. It doesn't mean you look down on them. It means you value your soul enough to protect it. Because if someone's presence feeds your worst traits, it will starve the parts of you that Allah loves most. Think of your heart as a garden. Inside it are flowers, patience, humility, mercy, gratitude. Inside it are also weeds, anger, pride, envy, harshness. Every person in your life is either helping water your flowers or your weeds. And weeds grow quickly. They spread. They suffocate the flowers if you let them. This is why wise people are careful with their circles. Not because they are arrogant, not because they think they are better than others, but because they know whatever they allow in their hearts will eventually grow. If you are around people who constantly criticize others, you will soon find criticism flowing off your own tongue. If you are around people who speak with mercy, you will find your own voice becoming gentler without even trying. We imitate the environment we are in, and the danger is that we often do not realize when imitation begins. That is why protecting your inner self sometimes means creating outer distance. It's not always about cutting ties completely. It can mean spending less time in certain spaces. It can mean keeping some conversations lighter, less personal. It can mean saying no when invited to situations that you know will trigger the parts of you you're trying to heal. It can also mean surrounding yourself with people who will challenge your worst traits. Those who will say, calm down when anger rises. Those who will remind you, let it go when your pride resists. Those who will quietly guide you back to patience, forgiveness, and humility. My dear brother, my dear sister, never trade the version of yourself that Allah loves for the comfort of blending in. Never bury your better self to keep company with those who prefer the worse in you, because on the day of judgment, you will stand alone. Your friends will not answer for your words. Your circle will not carry your deeds. It will just be you, your character, and the one who sees it all. And when Allah looks at you on that day, let Him see the version of you that He guided, that He loved, that He nurtured. Guard that version. Protect it from environments that choke it. And if you must walk away to save it, walk away with dignity, with dua and with trust in Allah. Because whatever you give up for His sake, He will replace with something better in this world and in the next. Repeated obstacles arise in their presence. Sometimes Allah speaks to you without sound. No voice you can hear. No letter written in the sky. But He speaks through patterns, through things that keep happening. Again and again and again. You notice it even if you don't want to admit it. Every time you try to move forward with someone, something gets in the way. You plan, but the plan falls apart. You try again, but something unexpected stops you. You prepare more carefully, but the door still closes. At first you think it's just bad timing. Then you think it's just bad luck. Then you tell yourself, maybe I'm not working hard enough. But my dear brother, my dear sister, sometimes it's not bad luck. Sometimes it's protection. You see, Allah is Al-Hakim, the All-Wise. He sees what you cannot see. He hears what you do not hear. He knows what is whispered in hearts, what is planned in private, what is waiting just a little further down the path. And sometimes He protects you by not letting your plans succeed. It's hard for us to accept this because we live in a world that tells us, if you just work harder, you can make anything happen. If you want it enough, you can get it. But faith teaches us something different. Faith teaches us that not every open door is a blessing and not every closed door is a loss. Sometimes the most merciful thing Allah can do for you is to close the door you're trying to break open. Look at your own life. How many times have you seen this? You try to build something with a person, and somehow every step forward turns into 2 steps back. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. If it was just once, you could say it was a coincidence. If it was just twice, maybe it was bad timing. But when the same resistance keeps appearing, it is no longer coincidence. It is a sign. The Quran tells us in Surah Yusuf that the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam plotted against him, but Allah's plan was above theirs. They thought they were sending him away to harm him, but in reality Allah was sending him away to save him. This is the same Lord who is guiding your steps now. The same Lord who blocks certain paths, not because He doesn't want you to be happy, but because He wants you to be safe. You might think, but this is what I want, I've prayed for it. Yes, you may have prayed for it. But remember, Allah answers in the way that is best, not always in the way we imagine. When you pray for what is good, Allah will either give it to you, or replace it with something better, or protect you from something you didn't even know was coming. And sometimes that protection looks like failure. It looks like delays. It looks like not now. It looks like no. We don't like the word no. We think it means Allah is rejecting us. But sometimes no means, I love you too much to let you walk into this. I know something you don't. I see something you can't. How many people have forced their way through a door Allah was closing, only to find pain, regret and heartbreak waiting on the other side? How many times have we heard people say, I wish I had listened to the signs. I wish I had stopped trying when it kept failing. When Allah places repeated obstacles in your path with someone, it is not to frustrate you. It is to save you from something that could take years to heal from. Maybe that person's intentions are not as pure as they appear. Maybe their path will lead you away from your Deen. Maybe their habits will bring stress, not peace. Maybe their presence will dim your light instead of helping it shine. You don't see it now, and that's okay. You're not meant to see everything. That's why we have tawakkul, trust in the one who sees what we can't. There are times when you will look back and say, Alhamdulillah, it didn't work out. But right now, you might be in the middle of the why is this happening stage, and that's where your faith is tested. You must ask yourself, do I believe Allah is truly the best of planners? Do I believe His knowledge is complete and mine is limited? Do I trust that His no is just as loving as His yes? Because if you do, then repeated obstacles will stop feeling like punishment and start feeling like a shield. Think about barakah, the blessing and ease Allah places in something. When something has barakah, doors open naturally, things flow. Even when there are challenges, there's still a sense of ease, a quiet assurance that Allah is with you. But when something lacks barakah, it feels like pushing a boulder uphill in a storm. Every step is heavy. Every gain feels like it's undone the next day. And your heart feels more restless than reassured. That restlessness is also a sign. If being with someone brings constant setbacks, delays and complications, if nothing seems to move forward, no matter how much effort you put in, perhaps Allah is protecting you from tying your life to theirs. Sometimes we call it compatibility or chemistry or bad timing, but often it's not about timing at all. It's about Allah removing what doesn't belong in your life. And here's the beautiful thing. When you release what He's removing, you make space for what He has written for you. And what He has written for you will come with its own ease, its own barakah, its own peace. So, my dear brother, my dear sister, pay attention to the patterns. One closed door can be chance. Two closed doors can be coincidence. But when Allah keeps closing the same door, perhaps He's asking you to stop knocking. Do not be so focused on forcing your way in that you miss the open door right behind you. Do not hold on to a rope. He is gently trying to untie from your hands. If something is yours by Allah's decree, nothing will keep it away from you. And if something is not yours, no amount of effort will make it stay. Trust Him enough to let go. Trust Him enough to say, Ya Allah, I don't understand now, but I know you see what I cannot see. I accept your plan over my own. One day, you will look back and see that the obstacles were not in your way, they were the way. They were guiding you, protecting you, and delivering you to something far better than you imagined. And on that day, you will thank Allah for every closed door, every delayed plan, every failure that turned out to be mercy in disguise. They mock or belittle your faith. There are many ways a heart can be hurt. Some wounds come from betrayal. Some come from neglect. Some come from loss. But one of the deepest wounds, one that cuts in a place most people cannot see, is when someone mocks your faith. They might not even touch you. They might not raise their voice. But their words, their tone, their smirk, they can pierce through the walls you've built around your iman. Faith, it's not just rules and rituals. It's the lifeline between you and Allah. It's the rope that connects your small, fragile existence to the one who is infinite and eternal. It's the light that has carried you through your darkest nights. So when someone mocks it, they're not just mocking a set of beliefs. They're mocking the very thing that gives your soul oxygen. Sometimes the mocking is loud and clear. They laugh at your hijab. They roll their eyes when you refuse something haram. They call you too religious, backward, extreme. And sometimes it's quiet. A little smirk when you say Alhamdulillah. A sigh when you excuse yourself to pray. A joke disguised as just teasing when you choose modesty over fashion. At first, you might brush it off. You might tell yourself it's nothing, they don't mean it. You might even laugh along, thinking it's easier not to make this awkward. But slowly, something begins to happen inside. The more you hear it, the heavier your worship feels. The more you see the smirks, the more you hesitate before doing what you know is right. The more the jokes are repeated, the more normal it feels to hide your faith just a little bit. And before you realize it, you've started making choices based on what will make them comfortable instead of what will make Allah pleased. My dear brother, my dear sister, this is not a small thing. This is not harmless. This is dangerous. Allah warns us in the Quran, and cooperate in righteousness and piety, but do not cooperate in sin and aggression. And fear Allah, indeed Allah is severe in penalty. Surah Al-Ma'idah 5:2. He had deigned, the warning is clear. We are to stand together in what is good, not allow ourselves to be pulled into what displeases Allah. And mockery of your deen, whether loud or subtle, is a form of aggression against your soul. It's not about being oversensitive. It's about recognizing that what Allah has made sacred is being belittled. It's about realizing that every time you stay silent in the face of mockery, it can plant seeds of doubt and shame in your heart. This is how shaitan works. He doesn't always come with big temptations. Sometimes he comes through small moments of embarrassment, hoping you will choose comfort over conviction. And here's something we must understand. When people mock your faith, it often says more about them than it does about you. Some do it out of ignorance. Some do it because your practice reminds them of what they're neglecting. Some do it because they feel guilty and want to bring you down to their level. But whatever their reason, your response must be one of strength, not arrogance, but dignity. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam faced mockery from the Quraysh day after day. They called him names. They told him he was mad. They laughed when he recited the Quran. They tried to shame him for rejecting their idols. But he never let their words dilute his worship. He never let their laughter make him question his mission. He never thought, maybe I should change my message so they'll accept me. Instead, he stayed patient. He continued with his da'wah. And Allah elevated him above his mockers. This is the sunnah we are called to follow, not in the exact challenges, but in the way we respond. When someone mocks your faith, you do not need to fight back with insults. You do not need to become defensive. You do not need to lower yourself to their level. Your greatest response is to remain firm, remain gentle, and remain committed to the path Allah loves. But firmness sometimes means distance. If someone's words are constantly making you feel ashamed of obeying Allah, perhaps Allah is showing you they should not have so much access to your heart. Because the danger of mockery is that it doesn't just hurt in the moment, it lingers. It can echo in your mind when you stand to pray. It can replay in your ears when you're about to wear your hijab. It can make you hesitate when choosing between pleasing Allah or pleasing people. And that hesitation, if left unchecked, can become a habit. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever seeks Allah's pleasure at the cost of people's displeasure, Allah will be pleased with him and will cause the people to be pleased with him. But whoever seeks to please people at the cost of Allah's displeasure, Allah will be displeased with him and will cause the people to be displeased with him. Halan. That is why you cannot allow someone's opinion to become heavier in your heart than Allah's command. Your prayer is not for them. Your modesty is not for them. Your halal choices are not for them. They are for the one who created you, the one who will question you, the one whose pleasure is worth more than all the approval in this world. So if someone mocks your faith, let that mockery be proof that you are living it. If someone belittles your worship, let that be the reason you increase it. If someone tries to make you feel small for obeying Allah, remind yourself there is no greater honor than being called His servant. It will not always be easy. Sometimes the one mocking you is someone you love deeply, a family member, a close friend, someone whose approval you've always valued. That is when the test is greatest. Because stepping back or setting boundaries may feel like loss, but in truth, what you are doing is preserving the most valuable gift Allah has given you. And when you stand before Him, you will be glad you did. On that day, the mockery will not matter. The smirks will not matter. The jokes will not matter. What will matter is that you stood firm, that you chose His pleasure over their acceptance, that you wore your Deen like an armor, not a costume to be taken off when uncomfortable. And here is something beautiful sometimes. The very people who mock you now will later admire you for your steadfastness. They may come to you in private and say, I wish I had your strength. They may ask you to help them find the faith you never let go of. So be patient, be kind, but be unshakable. Do not let mockery make you bitter. Let it make you stronger. Do not let it make you hide. Let it make you shine brighter. And every time you feel the sting of someone's words, turn it into dua. Ya Allah, keep my heart firm. Ya Allah, let me never be ashamed of what pleases you. Ya Allah, guide them and guide me. One day, you will stand in front of Allah, and on that day, every prayer you prayed despite the laughter, every hijab you wore despite the comments, every halal choice you made despite the pressure will be a source of light for you. And you will see their words never had any power over you. It was only ever Allah's approval that mattered. They break promises without remorse. Trust is not built in a moment. It is not something you can buy. It is not something you can demand. It is something that grows quietly, slowly, like a seed planted in the soil of the heart. It needs care. It needs honesty. It needs consistency. Every time someone keeps their word, the seed grows. Every time they follow through, the roots go deeper. Every time they honor their promise, the tree of trust becomes stronger. But when someone breaks a promise, especially when they break it without care, without remorse, it's like taking an axe to that tree. One cut might not bring it down, but if they keep cutting again and again, the tree will fall. And even if you try to grow it back, it will never quite look the same. My dear brother, my dear sister, this is why Islam places such a high value on keeping promises. It is not just a matter of courtesy, it is an act of worship. When you tell someone, I will be there, you are making a commitment in the sight of Allah. When you say, I will do this for you, you are giving them a piece of your honor. And when you break that promise, you are not only hurting the person, you are tarnishing that honor. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us with words that should make us pause. The signs of a hypocrite are three. When he speaks, he lies. When he makes a promise, he breaks it. And when he is entrusted, he betrays. Bukhari, Muslim. Notice, breaking promises is mentioned alongside lying and betrayal. This is no small matter. Yes, sometimes life happens. Sometimes you cannot keep a promise because of reasons beyond your control. But that is different from breaking a promise carelessly, without feeling even the smallest weight of guilt. The ones who break promises without remorse, they give their word easily, but never protect it. They say, don't worry, I'll do it. But the moment it becomes inconvenient, they forget. And when you remind them, they laugh it off as if it never mattered. You might try to excuse it. You might tell yourself, that's just how they are. But deep down, you feel the sting. Not because you expect perfection, but because you expected honesty. Every broken promise is like a little crack in the glass of trust. One or two cracks can be forgiven. But if the cracks keep coming, the glass will shatter. And here's the danger. Staying close to people who treat promises lightly can affect your own soul. At first, you are just the one being let down. But over time, you may start thinking promises are not that serious either. You may start saying, yes, I'll do it without meaning it because you've seen it so often. This is how hearts are influenced. We take on the habits of the people around us. This is why Allah praises the believers in the Quran by saying, and those who keep their trusts and covenants. Surah Al-Mu'minun 23:8. Keeping your word is part of what makes you a believer in the eyes of Allah. It is a quality that brings barakah into your relationships, your work, and your life. Think of how safe you feel with someone whose word you can trust completely. When they say, I'll be there, you know they will be. When they say, I'll do it, you can relax knowing it will be done. That safety is priceless. Now think of the opposite. When someone's word means nothing, you cannot rest, you cannot plan. You cannot build anything solid with them. If a bridge is unstable, would you drive across it with your family? If a foundation is cracked, would you build your home on it? Then why hand your trust to someone whose promises collapse as easily as dry leaves underfoot? Sometimes Allah allows you to witness repeated broken promises as protection. Not to make you bitter, but to open your eyes before you hand over something bigger, your heart, your security, your future. Because if they break their word over small things, what will happen when it comes to something that truly matters? You may forgive them, and forgiveness is beautiful, but forgiveness does not mean putting yourself in the same position to be hurt again. The Prophet ﷺ himself would never make a promise he could not keep. And if something stopped him from fulfilling it, he would explain, he would apologize, he would make it right. That is what sincerity looks like. Not perfection, but responsibility. When someone breaks a promise without remorse, they are showing you a lack of responsibility. They are telling you that your trust is not valuable enough for them to protect. They are telling you that their convenience comes before their commitment to you. And my dear brother, my dear sister, this is not someone you should hand your heart to without caution. Sometimes We hold on to such people because we hope they will change. And yes, people can change. Allah can guide any heart. But change begins with acknowledgement. And someone who feels no remorse sees no reason to change. So guard your trust. Place it only where it is safe. Do not make excuses for repeated carelessness. And remember, the one who never breaks his promise is Allah. Indeed, Allah does not fail in His promise. Surah Al-Imran 3:9. When people let you down, let it remind you that Allah never will. When they forget you, remember that Allah never forgets. When they choose convenience over commitment, know that Allah will never leave you without care. And here is a beautiful truth. Every time you keep your promise, even when it is hard, even when no one is watching, Allah writes it down for you. On the day of judgment, those kept promises will testify for you. So be the person whose word is as safe as a locked treasure chest. Be the one who follows through, not for praise, but because it is beloved to Allah. And if someone shows you again and again that their word cannot be trusted, believe them, not in anger, but in clarity, not in bitterness, but in wisdom. Forgive them in your heart. Pray for their guidance, but keep your trust in the one whose faithfulness never changes. Because at the end of the day, it is better to have a small circle of people whose promises are golden than a crowd of voices whose words crumble in your hands. They disregard your Islamic boundaries. There is a part of your faith that is invisible to others, but it is visible to Allah, and that is your boundaries. They are not walls of pride. They are not barriers built from arrogance. They are not cold, unfeeling fences. They are lines drawn out of obedience to the one who created you. Lines that say, this is where Allah has told me to stand and I will not move beyond it. Boundaries are not just about personal comfort. They are about spiritual safety. They are shields against sin. They are guards against temptation. They are the locks on the doors of your heart. And here is what many people forget. Those locks are not for keeping blessings out. They are for keeping harm from coming in. But sometimes Allah allows certain people to enter our lives who test those boundaries. They may not arrive with bad intentions written across their forehead. They may seem charming. They may seem supportive. They may seem like they care for you. But slowly, their words, their jokes, their invitations begin to push you toward the lines you have drawn for Allah's sake. At first, the push is gentle. A small laugh at the way you dress. A light comment about how serious you are with your prayer times. An invitation to join something that makes you slightly uncomfortable. You feel the discomfort in your chest, but you say nothing. You think it's harmless. You think they didn't mean anything bad. But the thing about boundaries is this: they are only as strong as your willingness to enforce them. The more you ignore those little pushes, the more confident they become in pushing harder. The more you brush off your own discomfort, the more likely you are to slowly step closer to the line you swore you would never cross. This is how Shaitan works. He rarely asks you to leap into disobedience in one step. He walks you there slowly with tiny compromises until you do not even recognize how far you've moved. Allah gave you your boundaries as a mercy. They are not punishments. They are not meant to make your life dull or isolated. They are meant to preserve your dignity and your peace, both in this life and the next. In Surah An-Nur, Allah gives us rules of modesty, privacy, and respect for personal space. He commands the believers to lower their gaze, to guard their chastity, to seek permission before entering someone's space. Why? Because these rules protect hearts before they can be corrupted. They protect relationships before they can be poisoned. They protect society before it can be destroyed. When someone disregards your Islamic boundaries, they are not just being playful or free-spirited. They are ignoring a command from Allah. And that is serious. It might not be as loud as open sin. It might not seem as big as a major wrong. But every time your boundaries are ignored, it is a small rebellion against what Allah has told you to honor. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ never mocked someone for holding on to their faith. He never pressured someone to cross what Allah had made sacred. He never made obedience feel like a burden or a joke. When someone came to him with a request that would lead to disobedience, he redirected them gently but firmly. He uplifted their hearts while protecting their deen. This is the sunnah, to respect others' boundaries when they are rooted in the commands of Allah, and to expect that same respect in return. If someone truly values you, they will never ask you to disobey Allah to please them. If they truly care for your soul, they will protect your boundaries alongside you, not test them. Sometimes the person who pushes your boundaries is someone you deeply love, a friend you've known since childhood, a family member whose approval you crave, a spouse you want to keep happy. And this is one of the heaviest tests, because the heart whispers, if I say no, will I lose them? But the soul whispers back, if I say yes, will I lose Allah? And between those two whispers, you must choose. If someone truly loves you, they will never force you to make that choice. They will stand with you inside the circle Allah has drawn, not drag you outside it. It is not overreacting to protect your boundaries. It is not being too sensitive to avoid situations that make you uncomfortable for Allah's sake. It is obedience. It is taqwa. And taqwa will always feel strange to those who are far from it. So their discomfort with your boundaries says more about them than about you. Hold your boundaries gently, but hold them firmly. Be respectful when you say no, but mean it. You do not need to shout to be strong. You do not need to explain every reason to be valid. You just need to know that Allah is watching, and His pleasure is worth more than every friendship, every approval, every smile you might lose. Sometimes Allah will remove people from your life who keep disregarding your boundaries, no matter how much you cared for them. This is not punishment, it is protection. He knows the harm you cannot see. He knows the erosion of your deen that might come if you stayed. And because He loves you, He will create distance even if your heart doesn't understand it yet. One day, you will look back and realize that the distance was a blessing. That walking away or watching them walk away preserved a part of your faith that you could not afford to lose. The sweetness of faith is worth protecting at all costs, because once it is gone, it is not easy to get back. So my dear brother, my dear sister, if someone disregards your Islamic boundaries, see it for what it is, a test and a sign. A test of whether you will stand for Allah, and a sign of whether they can be trusted to walk with you toward Him. Do not fear the loneliness that may come when you protect your boundaries, for Allah will fill that space with His nearness. He will bring you companions who understand your lines because they have drawn the same ones for themselves. He will bring you people who do not just respect your boundaries, they will help you guard them. And when that day comes, you will realize you never lost by holding the line. You only gained, because every time you said no to what displeased Allah, you were saying yes to Him. And there is no greater honor than that. Their actions lack sincerity toward Allah. There is something that cannot be touched by hands, yet it holds more weight than gold in the sight of Allah. It cannot be measured by the eyes, but on the day of judgment, it will decide whether your deeds rise like mountains or collapse into dust. It is sincerity. Sincerity is the hidden jewel in the heart of a believer. It is the unseen force that turns an ordinary action into an act loved by Allah. It is the difference between a prayer that reaches the throne and a prayer that never leaves the ground. Sincerity is not about doing more. It is about doing it purely for Allah. It is about standing before Him in your heart, even when you are surrounded by people in the world. And sometimes Allah shows you the opposite. He allows you to cross paths with people whose actions appear righteous on the outside, but whose hearts are chasing something else entirely. They may speak beautifully about Allah. They may act with generosity in public. They may hold the language of religion on their tongues. But if you look closer, the fragrance of sincerity is missing. The action is there, but the soul inside it is gone. It's like a lantern without a flame. It looks like it should give light, but when the night falls, it offers no warmth, no guidance, no glow. Allah warns us in the Quran not to be like those who do good only to be seen. In Surah Al-Baqarah, He says, Alam yakanuna, do not invalidate your charities with reminders or injury, like one who spends his wealth only to be seen by people and does not believe in Allah and the last day. 264. It is not just about money. It is about any act of goodness. When it is done for eyes instead of for Allah, it becomes empty even if the world applauds it. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ described three people who will be judged first on the day of judgment: a scholar, a martyr, and a charitable giver. Outwardly, their lives were full of service, but Allah will expose their intentions. You learned, so people would call you learnt, and they did. You fought, so people would call you brave, and they did. You gave, so people would call you generous, and they did. So today, you have nothing with me. May Allah protect us from that. When someone's actions lack sincerity toward Allah, you begin to notice patterns. They are most active when there is recognition. They serve with energy when the cameras are on. But the hidden work, the quiet service, the unseen effort, it is missing. They are loud in goodness when there is an audience, but silent in goodness when it is only between them and Allah. This is not just a flaw. It is a disease called Riya, showing off in worship. It eats at deeds the way fire eats at dry wood. And here's the quiet danger. When you keep close company with such people, it can begin to shape your own heart. At first, you might be serving Allah purely, but their constant concern with who is watching may plant seeds of doubt in you. You may start asking yourself, who will see me, instead of, will Allah accept this? And the shift is subtle. It is like a slow leak in a vessel you don't notice at first until you find yourself empty. This is why Allah may show you these patterns to warn you, not to make you look down on them, but to make you guard yourself. Because sincerity is fragile. It is like a small flame in the wind. It must be shielded from anything that will blow it out. If you keep company with those whose flame is already gone, you risk losing your own. So protect it. Protect it by renewing your intention often, by doing deeds no one else knows about, by loving secrecy in your worship as much as you love air to breathe. Ask yourself, if no one ever thanked me, if no one ever saw me, if no one ever praised me, would I still do this? If the answer is yes, you are close to sincerity. If the answer is no, it is time to pause and realign. The people who act without sincerity may still be capable of change. It is not for you to judge their hearts, but it is for you to protect your own. So when you see repeated signs of hollow actions, take it as a reminder from Allah. Anchor your own intention deeper. Even a small action done for Allah alone, a smile, a dua, a coin in charity, can outweigh the grandest public deed done for people's applause. And remember, Allah is Ash-Shakur, the most appreciative. If you do something for Him, no matter how hidden, He will never forget it. He will thank you in ways the world never could. On the day of judgment, the sincere will find mountains of deeds they themselves forgot, small acts they never boasted about, moments of goodness they did quietly in a corner, times they gave, forgave, or prayed when no one saw. And those mountains will save them, while others will watch their great public deeds turn to dust. The sincere will see their private efforts shine like treasures in the light of Allah's mercy. So if Allah is showing you a lack of sincerity in someone's actions, thank Him for the lesson. Do not imitate it. Do not envy it. Do not let it touch your heart. Instead, let it be the spark that pushes you to hide more of your goodness from the world and reveal more of it to Allah. Because at the end, the applause will fade, the titles will fade, the followers will fade, and all that will remain is what you did purely for Him. The only approval worth living for is His. My dear brothers and sisters, every sign Allah places in your path is an act of mercy, not cruelty. If He shows you unease, it is to protect your peace. If He shows you distance, it is to protect your faith. And if He shows you the truth about someone, no matter how much it hurts, it is because He loves you enough to remove what will harm you. Do not fear losing people for the sake of Allah. Fear losing Allah for the sake of people. And know this, when you let go for His sake, He will replace what you lost with something far better, far purer, far more deserving of your heart. So hold on to your faith, hold on to your peace, and hold on to the one who never leaves you, even when everyone else does. May Allah protect your heart, guide your steps, and surround you with those who help you reach Jannah. Ameen.